Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies with Nurse New Bully. My host Leroy, aka Brittany Griner, is a political prisoner with my co-host.
Yeah, this is Eli, aka Long Tall Sally.
Yeah, just trying to set the tone what kind of podcast we're gonna do this episode. Yeah, and we're back with the episode, and yeah, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about except one thing we want to talk about. I guess you can see it down at the bottom. We saw a movie.
We did.
We saw a movie, yeah. We just want to talk about it, let everybody know what's going on about it. This is a Hulu movie, Hulu exclusive. I know when Eli, when you first talked about this movie earlier this year, I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be in theaters. Okay, I'll maybe check it out when it comes out. And they're like, no, Hulu exclusive. I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay. The movie we're talking about,
up. It should have went to theaters.
we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. But yes, the movie we're talking about is Prey. Now, I've actually been telling people about Prey this week. Like, what you watching? Prey? What is that? You don't know?
The MC Hammer. We got to pray just a minute.
Pray. Right. That's the song that made him bankrupt. But anyway, so people actually don't even know this movie. There's a lot of people don't even know this movie exists because, believe it or not, streaming is not taking over as much as everybody think it is. If it comes to the movies, they get this big pageantry, this grandiose rollout, and everybody knows about it. But if it's just on streaming, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, you might not know about it, So yes, this is Prey, and what people don't know what Prey is, Prey, not Pray, like it's not a Jesus movie or anything like that. It's Prey, which is actually a prequel to Predator. Yes, the old Predator movies, Alien versus Predator, all the stuff like that. So it's tied to that, and it's actually a prequel. It's not like a prequel 10 years before the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. No, it's like 300 years before then. In ancient America, pre-colonial America or around that time, Eli. Maybe?
It's on the cusp.
On the cusp of pre-colonial America.
There's white folks in this movie, so yeah, they were just starting.
Yeah. Which is funny. I do feel like I feel like some director probably said, now some producers probably said, can you put more white people in this movie?
Oh, we got the whole English thing. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, so that's the movie we're talking about right now. Now, the thing is, I did do some digging, Eli, and a lot of people watched this movie did figure out, why is this movie on streaming? Why is it not in theaters? Because even Netflix, like The Gray Man, we didn't talk about it for good reason, but The Gray Man actually did come on theaters also at the same time as Netflix. So, like, why can't you do like a simultaneous release? Give us both of them. There's a reason they didn't do that. Yeah. And the reason is because of Free Guy. So, okay. Yeah, I'll dig into a little bit because it. Okay, so for people that don't know, Disney owns 20th Century Fox now. The deal was made about 3 years ago, like right before the pandemic. And when Free Guy came out, basically, Fox had a deal with HBO that any one of their movies that went to theaters automatically went to HBO after it was done release. So that's why when Free Guy, which is also a Fox movie that got bought out by Disney, when it went to Disney Plus, it also got released on HBO Max the same time. So that's money that Disney Plus could have been getting, but they couldn't get it because Fox had already had that deal, and Disney basically inherited that deal that they didn't like. But they found a loophole. If you don't release it in the theaters, HBO Max didn't get it. So it's a way to screw over HBO Max. It's all a money thing. Good evening, fellas. Good evening, Jeff Bowman. Sorry, screwed your name up.
Welcome.
Big Jeff. So that's the reason why the movie didn't go to streaming, because Disney is a money-hungry corporation entity that doesn't want to share with anybody. So, yeah. Kind of screwed up. Honestly, I feel like they really screwed up with that one. So,
I think they did too.
Yeah, but they want to save money, so that's what we got going. But yeah, like I said, we could talk more about this movie. Before we're going to talk about that, like I said, we're just going to talk about Predator for a quick second. Like the franchise in general. Like everybody knows about the first movie. You got to talk about the first movie, the trendsetter. Eli, me personally, this movie is the best movie of the 80s, of the 1980s decade. I put up against anything. That's me.
That's a bold statement. It is one of them. It is definitely on the list.
I say
top 10.
Top 10. I say top 20. Top 20. For me, number one. Period. Number one. There's some great movies in the 80s. Don't get me wrong. This is my favorite. For people that don't notice, if you see Arnold Schwarzenegger, you also see that they kind of stole their artwork for Contra. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Contra
everyone was
stole the artwork.
sort of ripping off Alien. I mean, this
Yeah.
was sort of just an Alien, like the Ridley Scott, James Cameron Aliens. That
In the same vein, it was like,
a knockoff, but
yeah, do aliens, but do something with
a
aliens.
really awesome knockoff.
Right. But you got to look at the, but see, times was so weird back then is that monsters didn't sell movies back then. Movie stars sold movies back then. Whose name was on the top of this poster? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And on the movie poster, the original movie poster, Predator wasn't even on it. No. Like if you just go see this movie, you just think it's another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You would think nothing about it. And then it flips. And it's like,
how it was back in the 80s. They didn't reveal the monsters until you had to go see them. Like you just
had to
saw
go
the poster,
see the movie.
You had to go see it. There was no internet,
Right.
You had to go actually, and if you were like a horror fan, maybe you'd read Fangoria, or maybe you'd read Famous Monsters or Starlog and get a glimpse of what they were doing. But you had to go see the movie to see what these things look like. We didn't know what the Predator looked like. We didn't know what Gremlins looked like. Right. You had to go see Gremlins. They wouldn't reveal it in the trailers,
Right. Because even in the Predator trailer, I remember the trailers when I was young. Since Predator was invisible, all they showed was him invisible. Yeah. So you still didn't see him, but they show people somebody killing somebody, but you had no clue what the hell was going on.
And that's what's cool about the first original Predator, because it revealed slowly, because it was invisible. Like you said, it was invisible. You didn't know what it looked like, but then you reveal it. It uncloaks itself, and then you see what it looks like. But then he was wearing a mask still, and you still don't get to see the final reveal till the very end.
To the very end, yeah. Let's see what we got here. Trailers 2 had to. You had to go to the movie. Yeah, they didn't reveal anything back then. You had to go, but at the same time, they kind of knew you were gonna go. All they knew was that Arnold Schwarzenegger's in this movie. Take your butts to the seats. Arnold was in a movie. You put butts in the seats. That's all it was. Yeah, no internet.
That's right.
Correct. We couldn't. And imagination just ran. You had no idea what it was. So, yeah, but yeah, like I said, me personally, best movie of the 80s. Put up against any movie you want to. It's awesome. We also got to talk about Predator 2. This is the black sheep of the franchise for some reason. I don't know why. Even though Danny Glover kicked ass in this movie.
This movie's awesome. I don't give a fuck.
This movie, that Predator 2 was awesome. Right.
I saw it twice back to back. When I first saw it in the theaters, I stayed and watched it again. Ran out, smoked another joint, stayed in.
And we're right back in. Right. Now, is Predator 2 as good as Predator 1? No, it's not. No. But that's okay. It still was awesome. It had more gore. It added more lore to Predator. You find out more about Predator. Yeah.
You expanded the universe.
He had a whole new like playground, not playground, but like battlefield. Like at first he was in the jungle. Now he Predator in the city. It's a whole new dynamic. Predator crawling walls and shit, like buildings like Spider-Man. Come on, man.
More weapons.
More weapons. Chopping up the Jamaicans, and then Danny Glover's giving Danny Glover giving the baddest quote at the end of the movie when he killed that one predator and all the predators will surround him and shit like that. He just go standing there. Now who's next? I'm like, that's the you gotta have the biggest dick in the world to say some shit like that to predators, man.
Oh my god, birds, these damn birds. He was scared of heights and shit.
Right. Yeah. And then we go down more like the rabbit hole. AVP. Eli, I feel like this movie was made out of obligation. It was fine, but this is when you can tell the hype started dying down a little bit. I'm talking about the movies. I'm talking about the comics or the video games or cartoons or anime or whatever the hell was going out.
Yeah. Well, they see Predator. They were supposed to make a Predator 3. But it kind of got shelved because Predator 2 wasn't that big of a hit. So they didn't know what to do with Predator for a while. And then they came out with Aliens versus Predator. And it was like the first Aliens movie in a while. It was the first Predator movie in a while. So they thought, oh, let's throw this together. And me being a fan of the comics of both of them, I read Aliens comics and Predators comics. And I read the original Aliens versus Predator comic series. So I was excited about this, but the comic's way better. That's all.
Now, let me ask you this. What came first, the AVP comics or Predator 2?
AVP comic. No, Predator 2 came
Okay, reason
first.
I'm saying that because when the Predators started showing their trophy room, there was an alien skull in the back, and that's when like, oh shit, that's when everybody went crazy.
That was an Easter egg, and that led to the comic.
It's just like Freddy versus Jason at the end of one of those Jason movies. Freddy like dragged him to hell or something, or it might be vice versa. Freddy dragged us to hell.
The Freddy claw came up.
Yeah,
so yeah, that was because Predator comics predated, I think, Predator 2, because Concrete Jungle is very loosely, or the Predator 2 is very loosely based on the Concrete Jungle.
And it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger's brother in that movie or something.
His brother is the character.
AVP kept a little going, I thought. But like I said, comics, yes. The movie, I'm like, I guess they were the first one was okay. It was watchable. I thought the second one sucked. I thought the second one was terrible. Me personally. That's why I was like, no. It felt like a Resident Evil ripoff. I'm like, how you rip off Resident Evil? Those movies aren't even good.
They're both really campy and schlocky in my book. And I mean, me personally, the second one is so stupid that you kind of laugh, but the first one I found kind of bland and boring. And just because I'm a fan of the comics. Hey, Fat T.
Fat T, what's going on?
How many times you watch Prey now? He's been watching it all week.
He's watching it now. We're just in the background. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, the AVP movies for me were just kind of crappy versions of the comics because I love the comics. And the first one, I thought the Predator design sucked. I thought they looked like Power Ranger villains. They were all big and bulky. They didn't have, rest in peace, Kevin Peter Hall. He was the guy who was in the suit. He played the original Predator. He just had that body that just, you could just put things on him and make him look awesome. Mm-hmm. And he had passed away, and they didn't have those actors, and they just didn't have Stan Winston, who did the original effects for Predator. So I was disappointed in the designs, and they just looked big and bulky and kind of clumsy. And then I was expecting a war. There's that shot in the trailer where you see the swarm of aliens. It turns out it's just like a flashback. So it's like, what, 2 Predators versus like 3 or 4 aliens. So it was a big letdown for me.
And then it was PG-13.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
the second one is just straight up schlock with flying predators and shit. It's like a stupid slasher movie with aliens and predators. So some of the kill scenes are kind of laughable, but it's like super dark. You can barely see anything. But it's you can laugh at it in a Mystery Science Theater. It's fun to shit on the movie if you ever watch it.
Maybe I get another try. I don't know, because all these movies on Hulu now. Like I said, since they own them. And now, Eli, this is where I kind of fell off. Honestly, if you didn't talk about this podcast, I wouldn't know these movies existed. Predators?
You missed Predators in 2000.
Did I? I got confused. I don't know which one. Which one is which? Which
Predators that came out first in 2010.
Okay, what was that in the back? Because I had this on bootleg. I watched like 5 minutes. I like, oh, they're in space. Nah, I'm good. And I don't know what happened to the bootleg. It's gone.
This one didn't work for me. Again, it had been a while since the last Predator movie, and this was like the first official sequel since the first Predator 2. So again, being a fan, I was super hyped. Went and saw this, and I was bored out of my mind. I don't give a shit what anybody says. There's fans of this movie. There's people who like this movie. I find it very boring. I find it very slow. I found it's like a cheap knockoff of the original, where same shit. People in the jungle running around with guns, macho dudes with guns running around the jungle, wondering what's happening for like 2 hours, and like nothing happens. Like it's just a slog.
Even though we already know what predators look like.
Yeah, and that's what I can't stand. Yeah. When there's a sequel to a movie. Yeah, it sucked. It is very boring. I was not a fan of Predators. And I keep going back and trying to rewatch it. I'm like thinking every 5 years, I'm like, does this movie still suck? Maybe it doesn't suck. And I give it a watch, and no, it still does. So yeah, I was not a fan of this. But very let down. Yeah, quite let down.
That was one of the funnest nights I had. Theater was hype.
He's talking about, we saw it together. We went to a Sick of It All show, And then
We talking about the first one, or the second one?
he's talking about the first AVP. Yeah, me and my brother Fat T, we went to a hardcore show, saw some bands, moshed it up, and then across the street was a movie theater. We saw the late showing of Aliens versus Predator.
Yeah,
I came out like disappointed. He was like, "Man, this shit was dope, yo."
Oh man, but that's it. Like I said, that's all the Predator movies, and that was a while ago. I guess 2018. Wait, did we talk about? Oh, you talking about the other shitty Predator?
And then the Predator 2. Yeah, the Predator. Yeah, that was a pilot.
I completely forgot this movie ever existed, even though you reviewed it on this podcast. Like if you didn't review it and kept talking about how shitty it was, I would completely forget it ever existed.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was not good. The first 10 minutes are hilarious. The Predator kicking ass. It's like the best movie ever for the first 10 minutes. And then then
it's not.
throws a bunch of crap that doesn't go anywhere. And yeah, it just turned out, again, just macho men being macho, cracking stupid jokes. And it's another disappointment. Because again, I keep getting hyped up for these movies only to get let down. And that's the thing, you know.
Yeah, so hopefully they do better. Let's see who we got here. Never watched it. I never have either. It's on Hulu. Maybe I sit down to watch it, but honestly, like, you have scared me from watching this movie.
You want to see a predator dog, meaning a predator that just runs on 4 legs and it's just a dog with dreads. That's all. It's the
you know what?
Dog.
On second thought, I'm not gonna watch the movie. Appreciate you talking me out of it.
It's really bad. It's super cheesy. It's like, I think the second Aliens versus Predator. I think Requiem is better than the Predator 2018.
I mean, you want to get kicked in the balls, or you want to get kicked in the face? What do you want?
You want to punched in the throat with
right. Oh man. Anywho, let's talk about the movie that we're talking about right now. I think we filibustered long enough. Oh, that's coming later. We're going to talk about Prey. Now, we saw the movie. We're going to talk about it. Like I said, I think I felt like it. I feel like I was robbed of a theater experience. You know, I wish I could have watched it in the theater, watched the crowd, see it like it, because it's a horror. I mean, technically horror slasher movie. Those are designed to be watched with a crowd. You know, get more feeling out of it. But what I got? Oh, Eli, you said you got images of the movie or no images?
I had that one that you just showed.
Oh, never mind.
of Amber Midthunder I got her. I got that same image.
Okay, yeah. So we'll just throw her up there one more time, like I said. So
throw her back up there. She's
throw her back up there. Yeah, she's a star now. Yeah, you're gonna see. I feel like you're gonna see a lot of her face in the future. So this is her moment right here. That's more reason I want to get this movie out there so people can just see her performance. Whatever we think about this movie, she was awesome. She stole the show in this movie. It felt like she had the best performance of any of these movies other than Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first one. Because you walk away, she's like, man, she was awesome. You know, I liked her in the movie. And plus, I think we need to address the elephant in the room, Eli. Hold on, let me see what we got here. Because we need to talk about the controversy that I've been watching it all weekend. 8 times. I knew it.
Got it on constant rotation.
It's just on loop. It's just on repeat. I already knew it. Because
you know Comanche yet, Fat T? You're speaking Comanche now.
Because the thing is, I feel like we need to address the controversy of it. Because, like I said, before this movie ever came out, what did every other geek nerd podcast YouTuber was complaining about before we got there? It's woke. It's the agenda. We know the dog whistle, Eli. We know the coding words. So anytime it's not a straight white male, it's right. It's woke trash.
Feminist agenda.
Feminist agenda. Mary Sue. That was thrown up a lot of times also. Yeah. I really hope to do a prequel comic or graphic novel to Prey. Yeah. Hopefully they do that. Now the reason I want to say that, now anybody that's still making those same complaints about the trailer they saw after watching the movie, just say you're a racist piece of shit and be done with it. Stop using dog whistles and, coding terms. Because at this point, that's what you are. I mean, any other movie you make it slide on is this movie. No, it's not, because she is the opposite of Mary Sue. And if anybody throwing a term around don't know what the term means, you just think it means woman that can fight. No, that's not it. Because a Mary Sue, there are very specific rules. And first off, let's be honest with you, the Mary Sue term in general is sexist. Because men can do the same bullshit and they don't get called that shit. Oh, Miss Marvel doesn't train in the TV show. She's a Mary Sue. Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is a Jerry
Right.
Sue or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Right. But Peter
Yeah.
Parker never trained in Civil War,
Yeah.
kicking everybody's ass. 100-year-old super soldier shit like that. Didn't train.
Yeah.
Is he a Mary Sue? Never was brought up. So it's a sexist turn to begin with. But she definitely isn't Mary Sue in this because, first off, people complain that Mary Sues don't train. They never earn their victories. This is not the case here. We see her at the very beginning. We see her training. That's what she's doing. It ain't like
her. Spoilers. We're gonna go into spoilers. So.
We're going deep sport, balls deep.
Yeah. She's practicing her hatchet throw, her axe throws.
Right.
You know,
and she gets better as the movie goes along.
Yeah.
And we see her training. Yeah.
Throughout the movie, she's fucking up a lot.
Yes, she's fucking. That's the thing, because people say Mary Sue's perfect. She's not perfect.
No, she's fucking up a lot. She's smart and intelligent.
Right.
But sometimes that gets her in trouble. Her curiosity gets her in trouble. The bear scene,
she thinks too much about it.
The bear scene, she shot the bear with a wet bow with the string broke, and that arrow wasn't gonna kill the bear.
Right.
So everyone was like, how the fuck is she gonna kill the predator when the predator kills the bear?
She can't even kill a bear. She wasn't right.
Yeah.
They weren't paying attention.
And back to the Mary Sue thing. People keep saying, "Oh, she kicked the predator's ass all by itself." No, she didn't.
No, she didn't. People weren't paying attention to that.
That predator was getting fucked up the whole movie. It got mauled by the wolf. It got mauled by the fucking bear.
Well, we got to talk about my guy. Yes, okay. So Amber Mint Thunder was awesome.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker right here,
yeah,
he was beating ass the whole time in this movie. Tabe was my guy in this movie. He almost killed the predator by himself. Yeah. Arnold didn't even do that.
Dakota Beavers, that's his first movie role, if you could believe that. You know,
that's his first movie role. Okay, man, Eli, I hate to go there. You're gonna be mad at me for a second because soon as this role was going, I saw Twitter trending with this guy. Oh, Marvel needs to call him. You already know where we're going. You already know where we're going. He could be the next Red Wolf.
Oh, okay. No, I thought Forge.
No. Oh, that's what I'm saying. But he was beating ass in the movie. I mean, you gotta watch the movie again. It took me 2 times to watch it with the first time he did it, because he was actually stabbing. He was shooting at the predator with his own arrows, grabbing his arrows out of the predator and shooting him again. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. He was doing that was some like Legolas shit from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, like Lord of the Rings shit. I'm like, and then we came in with the horse because he was complaining about, like, just give me a horse. All I need is, he was saying the whole movie, just give me a horse and I can fuck some shit up. He got a horse at the end and Predator was shooting him and shit. He was like dodging this shit, like, you I'm like, damn, okay.
Yeah, and the natives fucked him up. The natives fucked up the
natives
predator.
fucked him up too, yeah.
The fur trappers fucked up the predator. So by the time she actually fought the predator at the end, that life meter had to be at least 50%, like, or less.
Right. Yeah, even the traders got some good shots in on them. Yeah. Matter of fact, the only reason Tabe didn't kill the predator because he went invisible.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
And he says cheater. I don't know if you watched it in Comanche.
I watched it both times. I watched it in
He's
English.
Like, cheater. He calls him out. You pussy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he know he was beating his ass. He was like, oh, come on, Predator, don't do that. Give him to do the fair fight. Oh, like you
and then from behind, he heard it from behind. Oh, the kill scenes are brutal. It was like a brutal ass movie. And to get back to what we thought of this movie. I like this movie.
Yeah. I think we need to actually go into a review. I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. This is the first Predator movie in decades where I'm like, holy shit, that was cool. Like, I finally got to see a Predator movie that I actually liked.
Right.
You know? And that's first and foremost, because, you know, for those who don't know, I'm Native. You know.
Oh, Eli, don't think your face is not going to be on the thumbnail of this review.
We're the BIPOC bullies now.
We're the BIPOC bullies, yeah. So don't worry, when Black Panther comes, you're going to have the review Black Panther review from a black guy. So it's going to be on there. So.
Yeah. So this is a Native perspective on Prey. And first and foremost, as a Predator movie, I loved it. I really liked it way more than I thought, because as a Native, I was preparing to be disappointed. I was preparing to be disappointed as a Predator fan too, because like I said, I haven't liked a Predator movie in a while. So I'm like, oh shit, is this going to suck? And then when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh man, natives in buckskin, stereotypical, natives in the past shit that I can't stand, especially nowadays when we have so much great native representation. We have Reservation Dogs, we have Rutherford Falls, we have Blood Quantum and Molly of Denali and all these great contemporary.
You thought this movie was going to set y'all back?
Yeah, they was going to set us back literally 300 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I was getting ready to like roll my eyes. Here's another stereotypical, noble savage, the white man's Indian movie, romantic, version of the West and all that crap that I can't stand. So I was really on the fence and I was really like prepared to be let down, and then I watched it and I liked it way more than I thought. So, and like I said, first and foremost, as a Predator movie, I really dug it. As a native flick, it's cool too. The natives were cool too. The natives kicked ass, and that's all I ever want.
Right.
That's all I want.
Kevin Costner didn't come save them.
Yes.
They did it on their own,
Yeah. She kicks the Predator's ass. She kicks the white man's ass.
Right.
I was like, hell yeah. This is like modern day Billy Jack for me.
Right. All right. Now, as far as what I thought about the movie, like I said, I don't know if you noticed, I'm not native, so I'm just giving my perspective.
Really?
When I first
Cherokee or something.
Maybe on my grandma's side, she did say, but we're gonna talk about that later on. Yeah. So, like I said, I watched the movie. Now, keep in mind, I was all day working and stuff like that, and then I actually came home and switch stream a little bit playing Street Fighter. So I decided, okay, it's 1:00 in the morning. Let me cut this on just to see what's going on. Be honest with you, Eli, when I first cut it on, I was bored. I fell asleep. When it first came on, I'll be honest with you, I fell asleep. I was like, okay, yes, it looks beautiful. You got these sweeping shots of the scenery, and it's gorgeous, and it's long and plotting, and and it's not a whole lot of dialogue. And I was like, at the moment I was tired, But okay, it was 1:00. I woke up out the blue, out of nowhere at 2:15. All kind of shit was happening in this movie. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? How do we get from here to here? What the fuck? So then I like, whoa, rewind this. How do we get from here to here? And I had to go back and watch it again. So the next day when I was fully refreshed and, rested, I watched the movie again. Okay. And then the beginning of the movie is a slow burn. So that's why I'm asking people, if you watch the movie and at the first 30 minutes, you're still not into it, keep watching. Please keep watching, because you have to watch, because everything that happens in this movie in the first 30 minutes or the first half of this movie comes into play at the end of the movie. It's all connected. Even when she's going through quicksand, when she's throwing her hatchet, like even when she learned, like, okay, so she, and even just her mind process, her connection with her brother, the stuff her brother said at the beginning, it all pays off at the end.
I mean, she was trained to be a medicine woman, and like gather medicine and the flower, that orange flower, which basically cools your temperature, the body's temperature down.
Right. And that's really the only reason they even bring on hunts and stuff,
Yeah, to slow the bleeding, the blood smear. When she her war paint with the blood,
with the predator blood. Yes. Of natives.
All right, all right. Hoka hey,
we got a full house. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thing. So so when I went back and watched this movie and finally got a chance to just appreciate and take it, because like I said, at the beginning of the movie, it is a slow burn. I like it, but about the point, it's a point where the movie flips. I'm trying to see where that point was. The movie where it flips, when she gets caught by Tabe's men. That's when the movie like turns a gear, and basically Predator shows up and fucks those guys up. From then on, from then on, and the French guys show up. From then on, the movie is clicking on all cylinders.
That's weird, because I find it pretty fast paced, because it is only 90 minutes. I thought
that's thing. It's not a very long movie. Yeah,
breezy 90 minutes in and out. And maybe that's just because I'm a Predator fan, that I thought like the Predator shows up like right away.
Aaron Kelso, what's going on? I think he's been here before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, welcome everybody who's all listening. Tyson, Aaron, Fat T, of course. The only way of the
he's still watching it now.
Yeah. The poster's awesome, and just like Amber Midthunder, we'll get to her. But I thought it was pretty fast paced for me. Like the Predator shows up right away. He starts doing shit, and that's probably me being biased as a Predator fan, because this movie's supposed to be one of its first time on Earth. encounters with Earth.
I'm pretty sure that contradicts the lore and it's a retcon.
Yeah, we'll get
let
into
it go,
that.
man. Let it.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Y'all
Fans are bitching
y'all
about
make me hate to even call myself a nerd or geek with y'all do stupid shit like that, man.
But yeah, you see it. It starts up now that I've watched it multiple times. You see the ant, and then the mouse grabs the ant, and then the snake grabs the mouse, and then the predator grabs the snake, and then
it's all about the food chain. The food,
he's like trying to find the most dangerous prey, like the most dangerous animal, and then he goes to the wolf, and then he goes to the bear, and then I think now because of Naru, Mid Thunder, sorry, humans are now the top food are the most dangerous game on Earth.
Right, like these are people I need to hunt, but he never looked at Naru. He's always looked past it, which is actually I don't know about the comics or the video games, but as far as that first movie and even Predator 2, that's canonical. That is true. If Predator shows up in a room, he will kill every dude in the room, but the women he'll just leave alone because he don't see them as threats. He's like, what's a woman gonna do to me?
Well, if you have a weapon, everybody, because in Predator 2, the whole subway train, and it was men and women, anybody who has a weapon gets killed by the Predator. And what's her face?
She was pregnant in the movie.
Yeah, she was pregnant. He spared her because she was pregnant.
Okay.
So anybody who has a weapon, who poses as a threat, So that's And she didn't have weapons at the time because when she first encountered it, it was with the bear. He thought the bear was trying to eat her, so he killed the bear, the alpha. And she didn't pose a threat because she
that's the thing. Because every time he saw her, she was getting attacked. She was getting attacked by Topo's men. She was getting attacked by the bear. She was getting attacked by the cat. Attacked by the Frenchman.
Yeah.
Every time she saw her, she was thinking that she was in danger. So he's coming to her rescue. So yes, the Predator is misogynist. If you want to go.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's definitely thematically, that's definitely what's going on. She is a woman. She is like an underdog that, she wants to be a hunter.
Yeah.
She's being dismissed for her knowledge and her skills. And that's kind of the theme of the movie,
But I kind of wish they would have gave a counter argument to that, because you always tell me, Eli, in these movies, sometimes they make you feel how they want you to feel. And I get it. She wants to be considered equal like everybody else in the tribe. I get that.
Yeah.
Like her brother's a big badass. But at the same time, this tribe isn't like a huge city. It ain't 1 million people in this tribe. So I feel like in a tribe, in this society, everybody has a role to do. Okay, you want to go hunt, but we need more doctors. It's almost like that guy that inherits the family store, and he like, I don't want to run a store. I want to be a rapper, and just leave. And then the store closed down and shit like that. No, everybody has a job to do. Yeah. So I wish somebody with the elders, or maybe even a brother, would have said it, but instead her brother was halfway kind of encouraging her to do this.
Yeah, I think he was empathetic towards her and kind of showed her the ropes in some ways. But even her mom was saying, when she's like, why do you want to hunt? Well, because you say I can't. Which is like, she says we can't eat almost. Like, she thinks it's fun to go hunt. It's like, no, hunting is necessity. We need that to survive. And I think that's another theme that's going on, because if we talk about like monsters as a metaphor, in horror movies, the monster, the alien is always symbolic for something. Aliens were usually a metaphor for invasion or the Cold War. The foreigners coming to invade.
It's the same way here, but it's reversed.
Yeah, and this
because
the Predator is sort of a metaphor for colonization, the technology and stuff, because it is hunting for sport, just like the fur traders. Her first encounter is with the bear trap. Her dog gets caught in the bear trap. He's like, these damn white folks coming around and fucking up our shit.
The bison or buffalo, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
when she sees the bison, these fur traders
thinks the Predator did it, but it's the Frenchmen that did all this stuff. Yeah. And they did way more damage to the environment than the Predator did.
Yeah. So the Frenchmen and the Predator are hunting for sport. They're hunting for monetary gain. Like the fur traders are hunting for monetary gain. The Predators hunting for trophies. The natives hunted for survival. And I think that's what they were fighting against, So that you had these two threats encroaching on the native land, and I think that's where thematically that's where the predator, what the predator represents, is just like another form of colonization. He's a foreigner invading with superior technology, fucking up their environment, posing a threat to the tribe.
Because you have to listen to the dialogue that she says, or even a lot of people say it. And a lot of times when they even talk about the predator or talking about the Frenchman, like the dialogue could go either way. Half the time you don't know who she's talking about, but a lot of times it doesn't matter because she's basically referring to him the same way. Like that speech she gave, "You bled my brother. You don't see me as a threat. Now I'm gonna show you I'm a threat." She could have been saying it to the Frenchman. She could have been saying it to the predator.
Yeah,
it works either way.
Yeah.
Even at the very beginning, the very first thing in the movie, she says everything was good until the monster came.
Yeah.
Could have been Frenchman, could have been the predator. Either way.
Yeah. So that was another thing. And it wasn't shoved in your face. I finally saw it because I've watched it like multiple times now, and it's starting to come together. Like the feminism, it's not shoved in your face. So everybody complaining about.
But it's there. Yeah.
But it's not shoved in your face. It's not like overly woke. Like people are bitching about, oh, it's woke trash and shit.
Right.
No, it's a simple story about an underdog, and natives are just the underdogs.
Right.
We're always the underdogs. You know what I'm saying? So she's just a representative of all of us. We're constantly trying to, fight against, colonization, and we're constantly natives are constantly dismissed and ignored and invisible. I mean, right now there's like a native renaissance with some of these movies and shows, but
y'all are in style now, like light-skinned black dudes in the 80s with S curls are in style. You're Al B. Sure right now. So
and that's what's cool. I mean, going again, because I'm native, I think it's really cool that I'm seeing Amber Midthunder on the red carpet, and she's on the Tonight Show or whatever, and the Good Morning America. Like, she's in the spotlight now. I don't ever get to see that with natives. I don't get to see like natives on the red carpet.
Like she's trending on Twitter. Like, when does that ever happen?
And that's cool. I don't ever get to see natives hardly in it on TV, hardly ever. So it's cool to see that. Like, like I'm saying, like, because natives are the underdogs. We're constantly fighting to get noticed, and now that's part of her character, is she wants to do this. She wants to do these things that everyone says she can't, and she proves them wrong. So
right, eventually, but at the same time, through like most 3/4 of the movie, she was kind of proving them right. Because she had to learn. She had to learn to get to that point. Which why she's not a Mary Sue, because she had to learn progression. One thing I loved about it and the thing is, she's smarter than everybody else, and she was using her ingenuity because she realized, I'm not as strong as my brother. I'm not as fast as my brother. I feel like that's a word I've never heard before that you
ingenuity.
But yeah, like I said, like with the hatchet, like the thing when we tied a rope and started using the hatchet like a throwing device. Now I don't know if natives ever done that before, but I don't know if you know that, but the Japanese have done it before. That weapon is a kunai. So there's a kunai they tied to you, and you have seen it before. Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, like I said, ninja. It's a ninja weapon. So yeah.
Yeah. Fat T, don't. Oh yes, the don't whistle at night. So yeah, that's another little native perspective. A lot of native tribes believe it's bad luck to whistle at night. You summon dark things. So when she whistles at the end, when she cuts off that guy's leg, the Frenchman's leg, and has him baiting the predator, she starts whistling.
Gotcha. Okay, because she was trying, because like you said, in the Comanche version, that Frenchman called the predator a demon.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like she is summoning a demon to kill them. So another thing, like I said, I think we need to talk about, for those who don't know, there is like a Comanche dub and English dub also.
Yeah.
And I know it's big dick energy to say, oh, real men watch the Comanche version with no subtitles. We just learn that shit. And that's cool. I do feel like you need to watch both versions. I don't feel like you just need to watch one. The reason I say that now, I wish the Comanche version could have been the perfect version, but there's one problem I have with it. It's not originally voiced in Comanche.
Yeah, they had to. That was ADR, and from what I hear, they originally pitched this movie to be in Comanche, but they shot it down and said, no, we'll do a Comanche dub instead. So that's what they did. And I guess the producer, what's her name? Jane Myers, the producer from the Comanche Nation. And she was on set all the time, making sure shit was right, and when they did the Comanche version, I think, or when you watch the Comanche version, I think there's some things that flow a little better. Like, because I remember watching it and getting confused because one of the pirate guy, the Frenchman, starts talking to her, and she's talking. And if you're watching the English, he's just speaking.
He's talking in English, right? Yeah.
And I'm thinking, does he speak Comanche? And I was like thinking, I think he speaks Comanche. But then when you watch the Comanche version, it's confirmed.
He's speaking in Comanche.
He's speaking Comanche. He says, "I have a smart tongue." Because she looks at him, oh, you're speaking my language.
Right. And she's speaking Comanche also, so it makes more sense.
Yeah, there's a lot more little subtleties like that just make the story make more sense,
Yeah.
So
although in English, there are some things that jump out at me that I'm not, like I said, I'm comparing them. Because, for instance, even though it's in English, there are words or phrases that are spoken in Comanche also. I guess there's some phrases that may not translate as well. So they say, now, if the whole thing is just Comanche, you kind of fly over there because it's just a natural term. But when they say it in Comanche, in the English version, it sticks out more. For instance, in the Comanche version, she says, there's a monster out there, and it's just a monster. You don't think about it. But in the English version, she says it in Comanche, but she says the name of the monster she's referring to. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it's some kind of folklore animal or something.
Yeah.
Kind of bring more to it. So,
yeah.
But like it's a little stuff. So I recommend everybody watch this movie twice, three times. Watch it 3 times. Watch it once in English, once in Comanche, and big dick energy, no subtitles.
Well, yeah, because it is a great looking movie. So not being distracted by the words and subtitles it kind of distracts you from what a great looking movie does.
Right, and the thing is, the dialogue is so minimalistic in this movie anyway. You can kind of pick up what they're saying anyway.
Yeah.
Like, even with no dubs, you can kind of know what they're saying in it.
It's basically the Revenant. It's like the Revenant with a Predator. It's like,
right.
Yeah. But what's funny to me is, now in native, again, from the native perspective, I've been seeing a lot of non-natives bitching about, like, who aren't aware that there is a Comanche dub, but they're saying, why are they speaking English?
It's just angry for no reason.
This is why are these natives speaking? Why are these Indians not speaking Indian? And just like, what do you expect? Like this goes back to, again, natives being the underdogs. Native language is dying on a lot of tribes, and a lot of natives don't know their language, their traditional language. And there's hundreds of tribes, and not all the natives know each other's languages, So so for everybody to just complain that why are they speaking English, it's like you're just not getting it. You're not getting like how long we've been kept down, that they've tried to strip us from the language and all that and our culture. And that's why this movie being dubbed in Comanche is such a big deal. It's the first major motion picture to be in that Comanche language.
Right.
I know the Navajo. Navajo, they've done like Star Wars and like I think Finding Nemo. They have like Navajo dubs, but those are old movies. This is like the first new release, fully in native dub.
Right. And I think it would have been too much to ask. Like, okay, you're already making an all native action movie, at this scale, which haven't been done in this scale before, and now you want to have it dubbed in another language?
Oh, just think of all the bitching if it wasn't Comanche. All the fucking rednecks. This is America.
Nothing but subtitles, right?
Yeah, go back to where they'd be losing their minds if it was only in the Comanche.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and now I did like that the French, they didn't even dub the French.
Yeah.
They didn't even subtitle the French, just talking,
because they were the aliens. They were aliens.
And I love it. And when you in Comanche, it sticks out even more when they're speaking French and not really speaking Comanche, and you can tell they can't understand each other, but they're just cursing each other out anyway. Now, one thing the Frenchman did say that I did catch, but I'm not gonna repeat on here, But
Sauvage.
yeah, idioto or some shit he said,
Yeah. I see.
Oh yeah, the Frenchman. But at the same time, I don't think they were French. I think somebody said, like I said, when I looked on Twitter, I think somebody said they were Canadian.
Probably
because it's like
Hudson Bay. I mean, yeah, it was the Hudson Bay. That's where it was at. That's the fur trading.
So it could be they're speaking bad French on purpose because they're like not really French or maybe descended from France or whatever like that. Like I said, it's Canada. So
yeah. French Canadian,
right. So that's the thing. But I thought it was hilarious the French. I knew they were speaking bad French. I could tell they just way too over the top. Y'all Pepe Le Pewing this shit up, man. So something's going on here. But
I love like that action scene when they capture her, and that's another thing that I liked is it didn't dwell on native misery. You know what I mean? That's like every Hollywood movie loves to like showcase native suffering. It's like this fetish with how shitty it is to be a minority. They just want to milk.
I know. On Black History Month on HBO, we're gonna show all Black History movie and then movie and nothing but just us getting our ass beat the whole
slave
time.
Movies. I'm sure you're sick of slave movies, just like I'm sick of like movies about boarding schools and missing and murdered women. Not that I'm downplaying those issues
because they need to be heard, but
I'm not downplaying at all. It's just like
that shit does stuff to your psyche, as a person of color.
When I watch a movie, I want to have fun. I don't want to dwell. I know I know how shitty it is to be a minority. I don't need to be reminded of it in every fucking movie, And I think and that's the thing was like every movie with natives, they always got to show how much it sucks. And they didn't do that in this movie. It's just a scene or ticket. Like even when they showed the bison, they didn't milk it. She just said her prayer and then moved on. And that was another refreshing thing for me. I was like, it was fun. I had fun watching this movie.
Right.
And she kicked ass when she was kicking those Frenchman's ass. It was dope. I was like, oh shit. And I seen a lot of bitches
doing her hatchet and get over
here. Sliding under dudes' legs and shit and shanking motherfuckers. It was dope.
And people still complain about this training shit. She was born in a warrior society.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What do you think she was doing the whole time?
I know. It's like Harley Quinn can baseball bat thousands of enemies. Black Widow, Chun-Li, Elektra. All these bitches can whoop all his ass. Nobody gives a shit. But the moment a native woman, does it, oh my God, how the fuck did she do that? It's fucking bullshit. Don't watch it then, pussies.
Right. Even though we see half the movie her training, even though we never see Black Widow training. We may have seen her do ballet once. That's it.
Oh, how did she beat that fucking dude's ass because they got into a fight?
Right.
How'd she beat that dude's ass? Like, did you see how skinny that motherfucker was? That dude.
Right. That's how she was getting the Predator at the end, because we got to talk about the fight with the Predator. She was smaller than the Predator, so she was able to get in a place the Predator couldn't get to. Now people complaining, how can she beat the Predator? If you watch the movie, they set up the whole thing. Like first off with Tabe was getting in the Predator's ass. She was looking at Predator's fighting style. She was scouting it the whole time. Yeah. Everything even though his health was lower, she was looking at what he can and can't do. She's like, okay, he can do this, he can do that. Tabe lost because he didn't know everything the Predator could do.
She set if he went in up. Yeah. She took the mask and targeted. She figured out how the laser that those arrows.
She was watching the whole time, even while Tabe was fighting the Predator. Yeah.
That those arrows would go to wherever the dots were. The fucking Zandu shit.
Right.
Like she saw that because it almost shot her dog. Her dog was awesome too.
we got to talk about that.
But she learned and observed. That's why she was intelligent. And that's what I keep saying, you ain't a real Predator fan if you don't get this. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he did not beat the Predator with his muscles and big dick. No.
Right. He tried to, and the shit didn't work. Right.
Yeah, that's the point of the original Predator movies, that these big muscle-bound macho men with big-ass guns did not defeat the Predator.
Wait a minute, Eli. Are you saying that the first movie was a deconstruction of masculinity and making a political statement?
What? I didn't say that shit because that'd be woke, wouldn't it?
Right, that would be woke if you said that, right?
Arnold Schwarzenegger had to use his wits and strategy. He carved bows and arrows and spears and booby traps out of the bushes.
The shit
And
that she learned from birth, from day one.
The
right.
shit that he did a bunch of native shit.
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger appropriated native culture to beat the. Chew on that woke shit, motherfuckers. So yeah, that's what she did. She observed and used her wits, used her intelligence to defeat the predator, because that's what you got to do. Because the predator sneaks around. It's a ninja. He's not that he's up in the trees. I mean, even the Tabe calls him a pussy or whatever. You cheater. Like,
right.
because
he tried to fight him straight up like that. He's not playing by your rules.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn invisible because y'all are kicking my ass. Yes, all these people think, oh, these predators are indestructible monsters. No,
what do they always say? Beaten. If it can bleed, we can kill it.
Yeah. So yeah.
So that's my thing. Oh, we got to talk about one more thing. Now, like I said, since we're talking about this Predator movie, we do have to talk about how it ties into the other lore of the movies in a good way. Because I have a theory. Okay. So let's talk about Predator 1. Let's talk about Billy, everybody's favorite. Now, first time I watched the Predator movie, Billy always seemed odd to me because everybody was always freaking out about everything was going on except Billy. Billy was the only person not freaking out about anything going on. He was just like, okay. And it makes me think, like, does he know something that's going on? And after watching this movie, if this movie does want to tie into the early movies, maybe he heard of a story about the Comanche tribe getting attacked 300 years ago.
Well, in one of the Predator novelizations, in one of the books, the novels they wrote, Billy, who's Lakota. So let's get this straight. Billy is not Comanche. So don't think that just these, because these natives were fighting a predator, that they were Billy's ancestors. No.
Right. Like Billy, every person of color in sci-fi movies are related.
Yeah.
Lando and Finn are related.
Yeah,
right.
Finn is not Lando's son.
Samuel Jackson is the granddaddy.
Yeah. Yes. Nick Fury isn't Miles Morales' grandpa.
Right.
Yeah. So Billy is not Comanche. He's Lakota. But in one of the books, he heard a story. Yes, he heard a story where he alludes that his people had an encounter with the predator. Yeah.
Oh, so while I'm thinking about some kind of fan theory, this shit's already been written.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been 30 years, man. There's been books, comics, video games.
Well, thank you for busting my bubble, Eli. Thank you.
Fan fiction.
Just pistol my parade right then. Okay. I was feeling good about myself. Like, I made a connection. Aha. We're nowhere with that. But it was cool. It was cool with so I'm glad they made that connection. So it makes me feel like that, okay, Billy heard the story before. So yeah, I could tell everybody in this team what's going on, but you would think I'm crazy if I tell you. So I'm gonna just let you figure it out yourself. So that's how it feels like. Yeah.
And the thing about Billy, he has been sort of a fan favorite character, and he's one of the few Native American characters in movies that natives like, even though he gets his ass whooped. But he chose to go out like a G and kind of choose his own fate, on his own terms. So yeah, I mean, that's another reason why Predator has sort of resonated with native audiences is through Billy. That's cool. I always like when the Predator in the first one screams in pain from healing himself, and both Billy and the hostage chick were the only two to notice. The two natives both look up. Yes, I want to talk about the native roots of the Predator movies. Billy, the character of Billy, Anna, she's from Guatemala? So there's like indigenous people in these movies throughout, all this franchise. We had Billy, we had Anna, two indigenous people in the original movie. We had Danny Boy in part 2. He was like Mexican. He had that choker. If you notice, he had that choker. It had the native designs on it. And he would always kind of fiddle with it when he was nervous and shit. And then when the Predator kills him, he's like taunting Hartigan, Danny Glover's character, with the necklace, But so, yeah, I mean, and then, of course, Maria Alonso or whatever, she's like Cuban. So she, again, these native characters existing in the Predator universe. And then I got an image. Okay, it's time for this. It's time for story time.
Okay, here we go.
In the comics, you know, there's a character named Enoch Nakai. He is a Navajo soldier in the comics. He appears in Big Game, Predator Big Game. There he is. Spoilers, but hey, it's 30 years old. There's Enoch Nakai, native soldier, holding the head of a predator. If you haven't seen Prey, there's a spoiler there. Because that's what Naru does at the end. She comes rolling up on the scene, holding up the head of a predator. But yeah, Enoch Nakai is a native soldier, Navajo from Navajo who fights a predator in the Big Game story arc. He's part of the army. The army is trying to cover it up. It's a cool story, and but he becomes a recurring character throughout the comics. He also appears in Blood on Two Witch Mesa, which I'll review later, where we find about his great grandfather and his great grandfather had encounters with the predator. He also appears in the Predator Hunter series. Now, in the Predator Hunters comics, they're like the Suicide Squad, only they hunt predators, or whatever. The X-Men. They're an elite band of mercenaries, full of people who have actually beaten predators in combat, and they go around the world hunting predators. And Enoch Nakai is on that squad. So he appears in several story arcs from the Dark Horse comics. Now, as for those who don't know, Dark Horse no longer publishes Predator comics. Marvel has the rights now. The Disney Fox merger happened a couple years ago, so now Marvel owns the rights. It would be really cool if Marvel brought back Enoch Nakai, because to me, again, native perspective, he's one of the coolest native characters in comics. He's fully fleshed out. He deals with family drama. He struggles with addiction. He has PTSD. He embodies a lot of humanity, which is very rare for natives in any sort of representation in media. He's not a sidekick. He's not a one-dimensional caricature. He's not a clown. He's not wearing buckskin or has feathers or any of that shit. He uses guns. So yeah, it'd be really cool to see them bring back Enoch Nakai in the Marvel canon. So yeah, natives have just always existed in the Predator universe, in the Predator lore. So it's only natural that with Prey, it's sort of a reclamation of sorts for natives to bring the Predator series back to those native roots, because they've been there from the beginning. And the director of the new movie said the genesis of this movie idea stemmed from Billy.
Really?
Like,
he said that. Okay.
Yeah, he loved Billy's characters. So what would that look like if the Predator fought a native tribe, back in the day? And Predator comics, most of the best Predator comics are predators on Earth through different times in history. They fought in samurai in feudal Japan. They've been in the Civil War. They've gone to Africa, and fought in like the African tribes. Written by your boy Chuck Dixon, wrote that one.
Oh my God! I'm just imagining what that's like.
But yeah, but predators have always been, like in the end of part 2 with the gun. Now I'm talking about the gun. That gun.
We got to talk about the gun. I got a picture. I got a picture.
Okay, well let's do. I'll get this off the screen. And
boom. There you go.
There you go. Raphael. Okay, I've watched Prey multiple times. The guy's name that gives Naru the gun, his name is Raphael.
Gotcha. Okay. So for those who don't know, that is the gun at the end of Predator 2 that the Predators give to Danny Glover. So
the elder Predator gives Danny Glover that gun, says take it.
Yeah.
That there's a comic book called 1718, which is the year on that gun, about pirates, where the Predator fights some pirates, and that's where he acquires that gun from a pirate named Raphael. Now, if you look in Prey, like I said, I've watched it several times now. There's a pirate. There's a straight up dude, like the guy who gets the ricochet, who shoots the predator and it
Oh yeah,
ricochets
shot
off
and then
his
shoots
helmet.
back. Yeah.
He's a pirate. He's straight up got the pirate hat and everything. So there's an Easter egg. That's another thing I liked about this movie is there's Easter eggs for fans, but if you're a fan, you notice it. They don't shove it down your throat like in Star Wars, like in Marvel movies. They'll do a whole new scene just to say,
just
"Hey,
stop and yeah,
they'll stop the movie just to show you some shit from some other shits, just so nerds can go, oh, I know what that is." This just was, like I said, short and sweet, and just like if you saw it, he was there. Like some of the lines, "If it bleeds, we can kill it," you know, all that shit. It was, like I said, it wasn't in your face. It was just really smooth, short and sweet, brutal kills, dope action, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's the main thing I like about the movie. Had a lot of show don't tell. Like it showed you. It was minimal dialogue, but a lot was said in the scenes, minimal dialogue. But one of my favorite scenes in this movie was with Tabe and Naru when they would talk when she first came down and they were going on the hunt for the big cat, and he was like, "Well, now you got to hunt the cat." That's all he said, but it was more shit going on with it. He was really telling her, "You better not fuck up."
Yeah.
Because I'm bringing you along in front of my guys.
Yeah.
And if you embarrass me, there's going to be a problem. Yeah.
Don't make me
that's all he said.
Look bad in front of my boys. Yeah.
Right. He said. And he had to watch the game because they don't tell you, like, everybody looks up to Tabe. Everybody is just like, we got to wait for Tabe to get here. We got to wait for your brother to get here. Your brother said do this. And then they just drop a line in there. Oh, he's the war chief. So he's like, he's not just their boys. He's like their boss. He outranks them, which brings me to another thing, Eli. Okay. So if her brother is the war chief, and Fox owns this movie, doesn't that make Naru a Disney princess? I'm just saying.
I'm preparing myself for Halloween. I don't know how Halloween's
gonna go. Okay. Don't go there. Don't let your mind go there.
Oh shit! Like
come back. Don't let your mind go
for
there.
Halloween, man.
Come back to the light.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. I don't. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing is like when they were being baited, when the Frenchman baited her and her brother, and her brother admits like, hey, that idea about getting the cat, your idea, it actually worked. You got and I've again because I've watched it multiple times. When the cat attacks her and she falls out of the tree, she shanked the cat as she went down with her spear.
Right.
And then he admitted, like, "Oh, you actually got a piece of the cat, and that's why I was able to kill it.
You just didn't finish the cat off. That's all." But
he found it bleeding out, and then he, brought the cat back to the tribe and got all the glory and shit. And but
it was vice versa at the end.
Yeah,
he softened up the predator for her to get the final kill. She brought the head back to the predator and got all the glory. So it's like vice versa, they work together.
And then, and I gotta say, her war cry, it gave me shivers. like when she finally kills the predator at the end and gave her war whoop, I was like, oh my god, that's some cool ass shit.
Because
like,
that was her. The whole movie is about her trial. Like I think in Comanche, they don't even call the movie Prey. What was it? I can't.
It's what is it?
Something with a K. Something with a K. Yeah.
Something. Yeah, with a K. But it means a ritual or like a rite of passage.
Right.
It's a trial. The trial or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Right. They say trial, but it means more than trial. That's why it's like some things don't translate from words to other. The word they're saying means more than trial, but we know what it means. Like if you say when they say it in the middle of the movie. You know what they mean. I like the tension between Naru and the young warrior who tried to beat her up, and the brother feel like he was somebody. Basically, he just like he was kissing Tabe's ass the whole time. Yeah.
He wore his what is that up on his roach? Was that a feather? His feather up on a roach and the bear claw. Oh yeah, he was sporting his trinkets. Yeah. His stuff. I mean, that's the thing is like feathers, like for native culture, that staff that you get, you acquire feathers when you do, tasks, when you complete tasks, like become like become a hunter or whatever, go out and battle or whatever, you acquire feathers and stuff. When you do accomplishments, and that's what that was. When he came back, they were giving him that staff with all the feathers, So that's what that was. For those who don't know.
Is so. All right, now you said you wanted to talk about comic or
yeah.
Okay. Hold up. Let's slap a score on it. Slap a score on it. We got to slap a score. We got to do our job. We got to do our due diligence. Okay. What you gonna give it?
I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5, only because the CGI and some of the kills weren't on screen, and that's just
true.
The horror. That's just the horror fan in me.
Yeah, I was like, is this rated R? Like, give it to us.
I want to see carnage, and some of the kills were off screen. I was like, let me see that motherfucker get his, because they were getting fucked up. Even the natives.
Right. Even the natives get fucked up.
All the
one of them did that weird ass Wilhelm scream, the one you hear in every like old 30 minutes. Yeah. Like that. I was like, really? You threw that in the movie?
Yeah, the natives were getting murked first. Like I'm watching like, damn, these natives are getting fucked up. Well, these racists should be happy, right?
I'll be honest with you. I gotta say this: when the French scene, when the Predator went off on the Frenchmen's, I had to catch myself. I was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be rooting against the Predator, right? He's not the good guy. Because right now, I want him to fuck everybody up in this room.
Yeah, and that was dope. I mean, some of the weaponry, and let's just talk about the design. Yes, it's not traditionally a Predator that we've seen, but the director said that he wanted to showcase a new sort of tribe, because that's the thing in Predator lore. There's different factions. There's just different tribes of Yautja. That's what they're called, the creatures, Yautja. There's different tribes of Predator, and he wanted to show us a new one. They're calling this the Feral Predator, a more primitive sort of Predator who uses sort of bare bone weaponry. There's like weapons you've seen, like the nets and stuff. Like the shoulder, where they were shooting arrows instead of like plasma fire. With now, people again.
I love he went so deep into the lore, but honestly, in my mind, I was thinking it's 300 years before the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. He just using old shit.
It's like 300 years. Like technology evolves.
If we evolve, I feel like they should evolve also.
Because I've seen a lot of that. Because I'm on a lot of Predator fan sites, and people are just bitch. The bitches are bitching, and that's one of the things they're bitching about. Is he didn't have plasma fire and all this shit. It's like it's technology. It's 300 years ago. It evolves. Like, were you bitching that the Frenchmen didn't have Gatling guns and AKs? Like, what the fuck? 100 humans
airstrikes and shit,
Yeah, humans have been flying for 100 years. The Wright brothers did not have drones with missiles on them.
Right.
Technology evolves, you fucking morons.
Right.
What did Fat T say? Only warriors who killed enemies get to wear their feathers up. Like, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of native, like stuff that natives will get is in here. And I think maybe that's the reason why I'm biased, is we got to see natives do cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, some of the shit you just explained, I wouldn't have caught it unless you told me. So,
yeah, and so that's cool to be a demographic, I guess, since we never are. And the natives are never a target audience, So all these assholes whining about race swapping or gender swapping their favorite comic book characters. Oh, I don't get to see myself represented. Like, fuck off. Been doing it my whole life. You can do it for one fucking movie.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, did you still want to? Okay.
Oh,
I didn't slap a score on it. 4.5 out of 5. I'm gonna put on there because, like I said, once I watched again, I was well rested, and I saw how the storytelling was evolving the character, her relationship with everybody. Kills are awesome. Predator was awesome. The fight scenes when start ranking up, that was awesome. Last fight scene was awesome. Movie was awesome. I don't know what else to say. So yeah.
yeah. It was. Like I said, I'm glad that
even watching the Predator fuck up animals. That bear fight. I didn't know I wanted that. I was like, yeah, I want that. The Predator versus the wolf. I was like,
when he picked up the bear and all the blood drip down.
It just started dripping over it. I was like, and the thing was, the bear was fucking him up at first.
Yeah,
I think it's like the bear got cocky. Like,
yeah, the bear was mauling. Like the predator was getting fucked up the whole fucking movie.
right.
You know? So yeah, I mean, people saying she's a Mary Sue. No, she had help.
Right. So if they saying that, they don't know what a Mary Sue is, or they just race piece of shit. Whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Big up to Jane Myers. Yeah, Jane Myers, Fat T. She's the producer. She's from the Comanche Nation. She was there on set, making sure things were going right. That, you know, and that's another thing that's cool to see in a movie is Native women get down and like be cool, because you always see Native women, you don't get to see, like, they're always silent and like, you know, they never get any lines. Like the Revenant came out, the Revenant won all these awards, but none of the Native women got any lines, you know?
Right.
Like you never get to see like the Native women speak, you know, the Native grandma or the Native auntie and how much shit they talk and how loud they can get. That's why I love Rutherford Falls, because you get to see all that. But like I said, this is a story about a Native woman who kicks ass. That's why I loved her war cry at the end when she that was like shrieking and like,
she's
holy
been
shit.
holding in the whole time because like she completed her trial. So,
yeah, hear her roar, because she, you know, like she probably sounded better than most men. And it was so primal and cathartic, and it was, like I said, it gave me shivers, you know. So yeah, I'm like I said, I'm biased from the Native perspective. I thought it was really cool, but as a Predator fan, I'm just stoked to have a Predator movie that I like again, you know, because I only watched 2 of them, 1 and 2, and then disregard the rest.
Yeah,
but now I got another one.
Eli, as much as you shit on Disney, Disney made a good Predator movie.
They did. So yeah, I guess we're gonna go to the comic section.
We can. Like I said, I didn't read anything. I was gonna read this one, but I didn't. But you can
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah.
For some reason, none of the Predator comics are on Comixology. For some,
you think they do some big rollout? I guarantee, Eli, if this was in the theaters, they would have done it.
Yeah.
It's because it's
even
Hulu,
on Marvel,
yeah.
even Marvel, who has the rights to Predator comics right now, I couldn't find any of them on Marvel. So I don't have a lot of images because I was trying to like, you know, do what you do and like, you know, go through the comic and have all the panels and shit. But so all I got is, you know, the cover of Blood on Two-Witch Mesa. And I had to break out the omnibuses, you know. So I couldn't like shit, you know. So, oh shit, this one's falling apart. These are old. I better not open these.
Collector's items. Okay.
I just did. Yeah, the grade
You're
just went down.
Appreciating the value.
No, this fucking pages are falling out of this one.
The folks listen to podcast don't know none of that shit means. This is not this Geeks and Comics. I know.
I can't open my omnibuses; they're falling apart. So, anyways, Blood on Two-Witch Mesa is a Predator comic. I think it's only a 2-issue arc, but it features Enoch Nakai, the Navajo soldier from Big Game, who fights a predator, and basically we're introduced to his great grandfather, who tells him like, "Hey, I had an encounter with this alien back in like 1915 or whatever, you know, 75 years ago, whatever it was, back in the early 1900s. He was protesting an oil company that was drilling on the reservation, drilling on this sacred site called Two-Witch Mesa. It was a sacred site where they did ceremonies and stuff and had celebrations there. And the oil company was coming on their land, drilling oil. So they had a protest. Natives were protesting it. Some of the oil workers started shooting and attacking the native protesters. And that's where the Predator comes in. The Predator sees these oil workers with guns attacking the natives, chasing the protesters away, and the Predator comes in and starts killing all the oil workers, skinning them, hanging up in trees, all that cool shit that the Predator does. Of course, the townspeople find the oil workers all skinned alive, and they think it's the natives doing it, that it's another native uprising and all that shit. So there's this like turmoil, there's racial tension going on in town, but then it's revealed that it is the Predator, and his grandfather sort of witnesses the Predator come down and attack all these racist assholes and then take off. And that's about it. That's his story that he tells Enoch. Because Enoch's not allowed to talk about his encounter with the Predator because it's top secret, and in the government it's classified. But then he finds out, that these predators have been coming down for many years. And yes, Enoch Nakai is Navajo, not Comanche. So he's not related.
Right.
Related to Naru either.
Everybody's related, right?
But I think Enoch Nakai was basically based on Billy in the Predator movie because he could smell.
Because he was such a fan favorite, yeah.
Yeah. So they basically turned. We got to have another Indian soldier. So they made up Enoch Nakai. So yeah, I wanted to again showcase the native characters that have existed in the Predator franchise from the get-go. So this is nothing new. Everyone bitching about the woke shit. This movie doesn't have a big macho muscle-bound white guy with guns. It's woke.
No Leonardo DiCaprio walking us through this, telling us what's going on.
Yeah, a native woman whooping ass because native women did whip ass. That's just how it was.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why people are so shocked when they see women of color kicking ass, because that happens for the most part in our society. The women kick ass. That's
the
women
World
run
Star,
our household. Right? Yeah.
Some of the illest World Star videos are women
right, over some piece of shit dude.
Over some asshole.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, native women. I mean, then Fat T we were talking about it the other day. Fat T was like, a native woman with a knife, most dangerous motherfucker on earth. I mean, it was that natives were the butcher. Native women were the butchers.
Mm-hmm.
They butchered the meat. And when settlers came through, or the cavalry came through and saw a dismembered soldier all cut up and missing limbs, who do you think did that? It was the women that cut those motherfuckers up. Men killed them, women cut them up.
Right. Just like it did in the movie.
Yeah. So this is nothing new. This is all pretty accurate. I'm sorry it shatters your, actually I'm not sorry that it shatters your, your view of big dudes with big guns and big dicks, whipping ass all the
time. Shoot, anything else we got? We actually got a lot of material in there. I don't know if there's anything else we can dig deep into the show. So
I mean, unless you want to talk about Evo, I mean,
well, that's the thing. I was in the middle of watching Evo, but I think Evo ended at 12. So I had to finish this podcast at 11. So I don't know who won. Don't spoil it for me, Eli. After this, I'm gonna go back on there and find out who won. So yeah.
All right.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yes, Pat T. I can't wait for the toys either. I need a Naru figure. I need a Predator, a feral Predator. I thought his that skull helmet was dope. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I thought it was pretty cool.
That was the skull from the wolf, right?
I don't know. Oh, when Tabe stabbed the Predator with the wolf skull?
Yes.
That was very symbolic. Prey coming back to get you. Hunting
I see. I didn't even think about it. Symbolism.
Symbolism, yes. Hunting something that can hunt you.
Yeah. Hold up, let's see. I just want to get it just a image. That image sucks. I can't get it. That's cool. We're good. All right. So if listening to long, different, like, share, subscribe. Next week we'll talk about something. I might watch Sandman. We'll talk about Sandman. Not the whole thing. Maybe a little bit of it. We'll give it to it. Yeah. And I'm sure other shit will come out. And we'll get back to comics. We'll get back to what we normally do.
Yeah. So it was a light week for comics. Batman and a bunch of Batman shit.
DC gonna DC. We might talk about the bullshit DC doing too next week also.
Yeah.
But until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bullet time, same bullet channel.